What's up, everybody? It's Jacob. Thanks for joining me tonight, Saturday night, 7 p.m. MST for AI news, views, and reviews. And as I used to say when I first started, from an undisclosed location near the Rocky Mountains in Denver, Colorado. Yeah, it's been a while since I said that. Yeah, tonight's subject is going to be interesting because we had the Pope make a public announcement about their position on AI and maybe even a warning. Yeah, so we'll get into a little bit of that. I'll play a little bit of the Pope's speech, and then a tech report on why maybe we should listen to what the Pope has to say. Because also this week we had Trump, who shot down. I think it was. I forgot what it was. Not an executive order, but a proposal basically saying, look, we're not gonna limit AI. We're gonna lift the lid off and just let her rip because China. Yeah. So it's gonna be a little bit of a roller coaster ride between us and China with AI for a while. But are we gonna survive the AI bubble? There's all kinds of problems I'll get into later, but welcome everybody. Saturday night. Looks like we have a few people in already. And oh yes, the Genius or the Clarity Act. Yes, thank you, O7. And by the way, welcome. It's been a while since I've seen you, so good to see you tonight. Lily popped in a little early. She probably fell asleep. Are you there, Lily? She's joining us over the pond in the UK, and she says this interests her greatly. So cool, great to have you. And yeah, O7, I didn't know about the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure Gangnam Style is still top. I haven't looked at the numbers, but boy, that guy, he made that one song and he never came back. So he's probably living off that ad revenue for sure. Okay, so some updates too. I have a little bit of admin work. For those of you that been with me for a while, I have been still looking for work. I quit my part-time job, which was driving me nuts and crazy because the guy wasn't listening to my advice, thought he knew better, and was telling me to do things with AI that I thought were very dangerous to his business, which I thought was kind of ironic. But he can have at it by himself as far as I'm concerned. So I decided to spin up an old software project. And oh, hey, Lily, good to see you. Yeah, so I'm making that for a specific business or I'm sorry, certain segment of a market I won't get into now, but I'm almost ready to present to some potential buyers. So maybe I'll start getting some revenue going. So that'll be good because I'm going to be honest, I really only have about 4, maybe 5 months left before this scene behind you is going to disappear. I may have to move out of here. So I may have to dump the house or try and sell it or do something. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, wish me luck. And let's continue on with the show. So we always start with a little bit of AI slop, right? So I found this little video here of what would happen if actually Skynet never went rogue. It just came online and just decided to fit in like everybody else. So let's see what happens. Ooh, that car is awesome. I don't know if I'm gonna get copyright struck with that. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So there you go. That's what would happen. Oh yeah, thanks O7. Go to Utah. You know, got to have money to be able to move somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see. Actually, I probably will end up moving in with my parents. Is probably what's going to happen. But you know, I think the job market's kind of starting to pick up a little bit. I have been getting interviews, but you know, they want unicorns and everything's got, you know, all the boxes have got to be ticked. And actually, this is kind of important. I'll talk a little bit about this. Looking for work with AI and all that. These companies, they're the bigger ones that are going AI first. They've been pushing this thing called token maxing, where basically they're like, just use as much AI, we don't care, just whatever. And they're starting to get the bills. And I know like one company like Cursor, they went through their annual budget within a month for AI because nobody actually knows how much AI really costs to run. And you want somebody who is more of a generalist and kind of knows like the systems and how things are connected. And as a result of that, can do a lot more planning at a higher level and then break it down and chunk it down in ways so that you're not burning, you know, turning your AI into a token incinerator. And, you know, companies haven't figured that out yet. They're almost there. They're almost there. They want a guy like me. They haven't figured it out yet, but they will get there. But you know what? I don't know. I'm kind of digging this software thing, what I'm working on. Maybe I know I keep saying I'm going to show it to you guys, but I don't know. At risk of doxing myself, I'm trying to keep this channel separate from other things. So I got to figure out a way to how to couch it so I don't get connected. Because like I said, a lot of things I say on this channel, no day job's going to like what I'm saying. In fact, what I just said about token maxing could get me in a little bit of trouble. All right, so let's see here. We'll cue up the next video. Yeah, so, you know, there's all kinds of robots coming out. There's lots of new uses for robots. And I've got a few videos of some things I want to show you. Just some weird things of like, oh, why would you need a robot for that? But then again, you'd never really heard of a human doing that job anyway. And one of those is this robot that levels grain in a silo. So
a new piece of smart agriculture machinery is helping reduce hours of manual labor in China's grain storage centers. These leveling robots, equipped with spiral blades, scurry over mounds of grain at about 2 meters per second, flattening the piles without sinking. The robots drastically shorten the amount of time it would take a human to do the job.
It takes 3 people 3 days to complete leveling grain in a
I stand corrected. That is a job. Okay.
1,400 square meter granary like this. But 3 leveling robots can finish the job within 1 day. They can free people from hard labor.
The robots are dust-proof and are guided by lasers and sensors installed on the walls of the granary that prevent the robots from running into each other.
So there you go. You know, and there's also like a danger because some of those, it depends on the grain, but I know in wheat silos, there's a really big danger. You don't smoke near those or any open flames or anything. It could be very dangerous and spark something. So there you go. Let's see. And then what was the other thing I had here? Ah, yes. So, you know, when you were a kid, you wanted one of those Transformers. And looks like we're going to be able to get one of those. So check this out. Unitree just launched a robot that, yeah, Sparky the Robot 07. Yeah, that's the last thing you want to name your robot in a silo is Sparky. And Lily, you're not a chat repellent. We're coming on summer. I look out my window. The weather's gorgeous. Sun's still up. It's still nice and bright. So it's just the time of year. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, weed pulling robot. I don't know. There's something therapeutic about pulling weeds, but then again, I don't have a very big yard, so we'll let that one lie. But check this out. Unitree, the Chinese robot that made those. I forgot what they're called. They're like 4'1" tall robots. They'll probably show them. But here we go. Check this sucker out. You can get inside this thing, and it's basically like Ripple, get away from her, you bitch, is what this is. So let's check it out. Yeah, there you go. So there's the Unitree robot there that I was thinking of. Forgot what it's called. All right. I love the tire treads for the safety. Yeah, rage cage. Totally. Where do I take my money? Shut up. Take my money. I'm just like, I'm in demolition. What do you do? Well, I'm in a robot that does demolition. That's awesome. Oh, no way. Dude trying to be all metal. All right. So what do you think of that? No, we just got to get it in the shape of a VW bug or something. I don't know. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, F them exosuits. I want that robot just sit in a cage all day. But I guess when you think about it, that's basically what a crane is. All right. Have another one here. And of course, we have our Boston Dynamics, who I don't want to say pioneered intelligent robotics, but they were certainly one of the early adopters of putting AI into their robots, which maybe a lot of you don't know, but originally robots were programmed, step by step. And if the environment changed, they get confused. But the advent of LLMs or AI enabled the robots to learn in real time and adjust to their environment. In the last, I think 5 years, call it 5 years. And because of that, robotics have advanced incredibly fast in the last several years. And so Boston Dynamics has this neat little video. They're going to show you how they train their robots. And this is I think their Atlas robot and how it learns. But they're doing some interesting things because it's not just a humanoid robot, but it moves in weird ways. And well, here, let me just show you.
Landing in 3, 2, 1.
This is I think like a 75-pound refrigerator that's picking up. Look at the appendages in the hands and how it's gripping. A human could not do that. And then turn at the torso.
This is my 6th week at Boston Dynamics, and the fridge was my first project. I was told this was a year-end project that we were trying to target, and then it became a 2-week task.
The new generation of Atlas, it's a very exciting robot. When we started working on its design, we set out to build a robot that was designed for low cost, ease of manufacturing, reliability, and simplicity, right? Like, really, it's a robot for which we've tried to reduce the complexity as much as possible. One of the cool things is that we've been able to, despite that simplification, maintain many of the things that make Boston Dynamics robots fun to work with, right? It's a robot that it is very strong. It's a robot that it...
There we go again. There's that working alongside humans thing. It'll be fun to work alongside it while it's rotating around the torso.
It's very agile and fast, and it's very easy to control.
Oh, get out of here.
We're very successful at having fun in simulation, designing behaviors that then almost always work with the real hardware. One of the goals that we've had in the last couple of months since we've been working with this robot is basically being able to prove to ourselves that what we thought was possible with this robot is actually possible.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. My understanding is that's how they, when they're laying on the ground like that, that's how they turn them off. they lay down on the ground. And I guess the idea is that they're more compact, and then when they're ready to work, they can unfold and come out. So kind of a wild way to do it.
Basically, Atlas needs to be a tool. A tool basically that is similar to humans, which means it needs to start interacting with objects. And objects come in all shapes and forms. And because Atlas is a beast, and we know that it's capable of lifting heavy objects, we basically wanted to jump in the deep end.
The empty fridge is 50 pounds, and that is mostly what we shot with. In the lab, to really see what we could do, we were able to go up to 100.
Yeah, so there you go, 50 pounds. I mean, if you've ever worked in a warehouse or any job where there's lifting required, what do they say on the job description? Must be able to lift 50 pounds. There you go.
100 pounds, which was entirely unseen for the policy. It was always trained at about 50 to 70 pounds. And this is really pushing the limits of what humanoid robots can do.
And incidentally too, I don't know if you caught what he was saying, that they were trained to lift at different weights because the robot has to understand how much pressure it has to put in its motors to keep the object stationary. But also too, it's a similar issue when you are picking up different sizes of objects of different textures and different flexibility, that the robot understands how to grip it, the grip strength. So again, the grip strength of the robot is crucial lifting these heavy objects as well. Oh, hello, Lisa. Good to see you. Welcome.
I don't know of any other humanoid robot that has moved a big, heavy object like a fridge.
So the fridge experiment was really cool and something I've kind of always been wanting to do, which is basically instead of just grabbing...
Here, real quick, look at the refrigerator. See all the dents in it down here? Right there? Maybe the grip strength wasn't as subtle as as it is now when they first started. That's all I'm saying.
Like with your hand and grasping it and kind of moving it like this, it was really using the whole body and really like leveraging, like, you know, straight arms, lift up a thing and like really put your whole body into it was kind of the idea. And I've always wanted to do that with a robot. You know, a couple of things have come together recently. We have a really capable new robot that could actually do it. And we have a lot of really cool new tools on the team that we're utilizing to program it to do these kinds of behaviors. I've been here at Boston Dynamics for 15 years, and I've been a leader on the controls team for about that long. And we've gone through many cycles and many, you know, pivots. And
yeah, I've shown you that one.
Where we are right now is probably the most exciting.
In the 6 weeks, I've noticed that it's fairly easy for us to test things. There's a pipeline, there's a rigorous pipeline that's been established, and there's a lot of people working behind the scenes. The whole system in itself is a packaged system for us to test new policies on. So I could be training a policy today, and tomorrow I have a baked-in policy, and within like an hour, my policy is on the robot. I'm testing, I'm collecting.
Yeah, policy is a strange term. That must be like a robotics thing, but in like software and project management, basically they have baked-in processes now, and it just makes it really easy for them to iterate and make changes and to incorporate new systems.
Collecting data, I'm seeing what's happening, and I'm iterating and I'm getting back. So that whole pipeline is seamless. We kind of have a very close sim to real gap with just the robot, and that's been very fun to focus on and not worry about that.
Well, there goes all the kung fu movies.
We put together a animation, a reference of what it would look like for the robot to move the fridge. Then in simulation for millions of hours, we let the robot practice moving the fridge in the exact same way. We encouraged it to move the fridge like we told it, to not drop the fridge and all those sorts of things. And then once you get...
That's the LLM. Like, he's not kidding when he literally told it, don't drop it, don't, you know, And then you saw there was a simulation in the computer with hundreds and hundreds of robots. They practice inside the computer first, and then they let the robot work in the real world, so that the number of mistakes are dramatically reduced in the real world.
Sort of the reward tuning right, the physics correct for the hand dragging along the fridge, and you run it on the hardware, it does perfectly. We have not seen the limits of what Atlas can do. We are still pushing the limits in terms of the sort of big, heavy object that Atlas can pick up. We're always going to keep pushing it.
All right, backflip in 3, 2, 1. Hey!
Almost didn't make it.
Like a champ.
So what's next? Well, it's never been easier to bring this robot outside the lab, and we're very excited to do that. We're only limited by our imagination now.
Yeah, so what do you think of that? Pretty cool, but pretty scary all at the same time. Just a lot of change coming. Yeah, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have seen that. But you know, it's not just robotics. It's not just physical AI. There's a lot of ways that AI is going to touch our lives. I'm going to talk more about this in upcoming live streams. Maybe not just like the existential side, which we're going to talk about tonight, but there's also the creative side. There's surveillance, relationships, lots of ways that AI is starting to touch our lives now. And I think the last figure I heard, I don't know how big the body, the big the survey was, but they were saying that 33% of, I think it was people, they just said people, they didn't break it down by gender, are already in a relationship with a chatbot. Which is just like, wow. It's crazy. So I have some videos that I want to go over on that, but we would be here all night if we shoved everything in there. So tonight we're just gonna do existential crisis. Yes, Looker 07. That's a classic. Susan Day, and I always forget the name of the guy who was the investigator, and then the gun, the flash gun. Pretty cool. Okay, let's see. Yes, so I was talking about how AI, some other examples of how AI are already touching our lives, but they're not quite rolled out entirely yet. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of that. So already we have at Boston's Logan Airport, they're rolling out basically a fully automated terminal that's apparently, quote, remote controlled. But remote controlled by what?
In the nation remote terminal in Framingham. This opens next month, but Massport gave us a preview today. As we've reported, passengers are going to be able to go through security at the Framingham Express.
Kind of looks like you're going through a jet engine there.
Garage and take a bus right to the gates at Logan. With that kind of convenience, Massport expects this will be popular.
And this is the thing with the automation and the AI. They're always going to sell one of three things. It's safety, convenience, and security. Can't have all three at the same time.
Not everyone can use it. You have to be flying JetBlue or Delta, and only at certain times. As WBC's Aaron Parsegian shows us, even passengers who meet the criteria will have to do a little extra work to get on board.
There's a new option for travelers wanting to bypass long airport security lines or even save some coin on parking. And it
You could just get rid of TSA. Just saying.
Starts at this first-in-the-nation facility, 22 miles from Logan Airport.
Every hour on the hour, we're going to be running secure buses from this remote facility to Boston Logan.
On June 1st, Massport will officially open the doors to the Logan Airport remote terminal off Route 9 in Framingham. For $9 tickets on sale now, eligible JetBlue and Delta passengers can book with their flight info. Park here for
both the worst airlines. They're like they both have had such a long reputation of really bad service. So they're like, well, we'll just remove the human so we can have better service.
$7 a day and head in.
So I'll be entering after you drop your bags off and get your boarding pass. You'll be able to enter through here and go through a full TSA screening checkpoint lane, very similar to like you would at the airport.
Look at that. Federal employees totally replaced.
After going through security screening, you'll then hop on this bus, which will take you directly to your terminal at Logan Airport, right up to your gate.
It's going to be more seamless, more convenient for the passengers and the traveling public.
It's a pilot program modeled after ones in Philly and Chicago that currently take connecting flight travelers tarmac to tarmac from regional to hub airports.
The stress and the headache that you experience when you're pulling up to a big airport, you're wondering how long is the baggage line, how long is the security line, all these kind of anxieties that come to your mind.
That's why I always do carry on. No matter the length of the trip, I'll always do carry on because I don't want to fuck with any of that.
You take care of all of those up front.
That's what 25 years of frickin' TSA has done to me. I'm like, why are they even still a thing?
Security from facility to bus to the airside gate remains at top of mind.
You need to put them on for the road or air rage.
Regulated just as if you're flying through an airport. And then for those of you who like aviation, you're gonna be ramp side, right? So you'll be among the airplanes walking up.
And airlines believe this experience may clear more remote terminals for takeoff in the future.
As we move through the future, we need to be willing to try new things, and I think this is an important part of that.
Yeah. So 07, that's your problem. It's the one way ticket. It's not the backpack. It's single direction. That's what's pulling you aside. I know that from a friend. And this is what you're saying about America's Best Eyeglasses. They have some kind of remote eye doctor now. How did they implement that? Did you like go to a site and then they put some kind of monitoring on your eyes? Or can they actually like do that through a regular phone? Kind of curious because, when you go to, or when you buy glasses through a mobile app or online, now they have that thing where you can preview them and go like this and, see what the glasses look like on your face. But they have to get into your retina and look at that, do the puff thing. Because I recently, these glasses I got a few months ago, and the eye doctor took a picture, like some kind of like really special picture of both of my retinas, and then kind of like a different depths in my eye. And she was saying that they could actually predict more, I don't want to say maladies, but health issues on what's going on in your eyes. Like high blood pressure is one that seems pretty obvious. Diabetes, pre-diabetic, and some other things she was listing off. But and this is all because of AI. Just using AI to look at images of retinas where they identified the person having all these different maladies. And the AI found patterns in the blood vessels. Pretty wild. Do some cleanup here. Give me a second. All right. Yeah, but watch that one way. That's how they get you. All right. And the other thing with AI and physical AI, a lot of folks are talking about, go in the trades. And okay, that might be true for a little while. But if everybody pivots into the trades, what do you think's the first thing's going to happen? All the wages are going to drive back down again. You'll have a flood of tradesmen. And then at the same time, you're going to have this. We've already got a company in the Bay Area that is building new homes with a fully automated mobile robotic factory. So let's check this out.
Since the fires, fewer than a dozen homes have been fully rebuilt in LA County, and about 70% of people...
Wait. What was that figure again? Because that's
More than
a
a
lot.
dozen homes have been fully rebuilt in
Oh, a
LA
dozen.
County, and about 70% of people who were displaced are still out of their homes.
Mhm.
Around 900 homes are under construction and could possibly be on pace to be completed later this year. One San Francisco-based company has
Tell you what, it's not due to a lack of construction. It's all the permits and, like, you know, save the quails and the lizards and the whatevers, all the environmentalism. This is a land grab.
deployed its AI robotic technology to Southern California to build homes in the burn zones. Kenny Choi shows us how this company is trying to transform the future of construction.
Look at that nail gun, crazy.
Its framing and panels may look like any other home, but what you see here has been built using a robot, except for the cement foundation. Prasanna Vasudevan is the homeowner.
I've never built houses before. This is my first ever time exploring this aspect of home building.
He recently bought this parcel of land in a burn-scarred area of Santa Rosa, ravaged by the 2017 Tubbs fire. Vasudevan began researching how long it would take to build a fire-resistant house.
I'm a little slow, but that's wood. Wood burns. I mean, yeah, you can put fire retardant stuff on it, but nothing beats bricks. Just saying.
Average time frame that I used to get is anywhere from 1 year to 3 years, and I didn't have that much of leeway.
To do that, a San Francisco-based company called Cosmic is using its mobile robotic microfactory. They've started to build homes and ADUs in parts of Los Angeles decimated by the 2025 wildfires.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that. He said ADUs, alternative dwelling units, which means they're not building the actual house. They're building a temporary structure. Because I was kind of looking at what he had in the background. It looked like kind of like a tiny house or a shed. Just go back real quick. You can see in the thumbnail back there, that's totally like a little tiny house, on almost like one that would be on wheels, but they have to put it on a foundation due to California laws and all that crap. Can't have it on wheels. But anyway, continue on.
Sasa Jokic is founder and CEO. His AI technology takes what's designed and constructs the framing, floors, and roof panels on location.
See what they do for electrical and plumbing.
Of home building. This is the present and the future of home building.
Right now, the mobile robotic factory is set up in Los Angeles, where the company plans to help rebuild homes for victims of the Palisades and Eaton fires.
You know, sorry, I keep pausing. This is a gimmick, because why would you still have to ship all the materials, the raw materials to the site. Why wouldn't you just, if you know what the building's going to be, just build all the, you know, like the framing and everything you need and then ship it on site? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you take all the wood and everything and then build it over there when you know what the plans are? Anyway, sorry. Continue on.
They're currently waiving some fees for fire victims and has pledged to build one home for underinsured families for every 10 homes built in the area.
We are really on a journey to first really address the housing shortage right now in LA and bring the families back to their homes very fast.
An analysis by the National Association of Home Builders estimates tens of thousands of homes aren't being completed because there aren't enough workers.
Bullshit. It's a permitting problem. Trust me. There's a lot of people that could build their own house. All right. Or you could like do the Amish thing and help each other build the house. It's a permit thing. It's inspections, all that stuff. Like all the people that have tons of money down on the Pacific Coast Highway. Yeah, Adam Carolla. It's true. He does constantly bitch about that. All those houses on the Malibu, you know, or on the coastline by the Pacific Coast Highway, those people are worth millions of dollars, and even they can't get the state to budge, right? So it's not a lack of builders. It's bureaucracy.
It's an issue that slows building times and raises costs.
Construction industry has been battling the issue with the labor shortage for decades, and you know, we right now are having a demand of building 9 million homes in U.S. in order to fill the gap on the housing market. And we don't have people to build those homes.
For Vasudevan, his prefab custom home is becoming reality faster
looks
than
cool.
he thought it would.
What you're seeing here is a dream home. I've been wanting to build something from scratch, from ground up, and I've been able to make this come true.
He's hoping to see a finished product in 6 months and believes he's saving a few $100,000 using robots to build his future home.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool and everything, but you still got to check all the work. You're going to have crowning and twisting and all kinds of stuff in your wood. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just seemed kind of weird to bring a robot on site. This is just a gimmick. Just build it off site and ship it in. Plus, there's like, what is that company? Boxable? I don't know if you've ever heard of them. This is actually something that I wanted to do when I retire. I was hoping I'd be able to stick it out here and then sell this place and then go into a, hold on, I'll pull it up for you. Go into a tiny house or a smaller structure. And one company, they've already got it to where they flat pack your house. And then, yeah, Boxable. I think they're in Vegas. Here we go. Ta-da. Let me just get this going. And one of the big things that they do is they build it in their big facility. So everything's built there, and then they flat pack ship your... See, there's some down there in the bottom right there that are erected. Let's see here if we can... Yeah, here we go. See that? They just flip the doors open. It's like a big old freaking Lego. Put the roof on, and then all they have to do is seal it. You got to have water and power, of course, on site. But I think this thing is like really dirt cheap. You just, of course, you have to have the land and everything. See if I can find what it looks like on the inside. That one's like their famous one. It's pretty standard interior. You got this little kitchen with that's your table coming out off the counter there. And then this is what's really interesting about the way the space is. They have this shelf in the middle, and your TV can flip around. So on this side, you're in the bed, and then this side, you're in the living room. And then there's a bathroom off on this side here, I believe. See if we can find it. Yeah, back there. So the bed would be over here off frame, and then the bathroom here, and then you could do a stackable washer and dryer. Just like bare minimum. Bare minimum. Yes, I know some people want a massive house, but I don't want to clean it. So, yeah. Pretty, it's like super generic, pretty basic looking, but it's doesn't cost much. All right. So that was just one thing I was looking at. But anyway, I'm just thinking like these people, they could just ship this little fucker out there, put it together, hook it up with some electricity or water until you build your permanent structure. And then that way they could do squatters' rights, use their own like homelessness, or whatever, the squatter stuff that people do in California and also in New York, or they'll never get kicked off their land. As long as they domicile there, ain't nothing they can do. So you want a large yard. Yeah, the noise, for sure. The thing about me is like, it's not so much the space, it's having people above me, the feet, and hearing the noise around me of other people and the commotion of people around me in the walls. That's the part that I don't like. I had, during COVID, I had to move into an apartment, 3-story apartment. I was on the first floor, and I didn't want to go all the way up to the 3rd floor. So I thought, okay, I'll go to the 1st floor. And it was actually a really good place, except the walls are really thin. And I had probably about 4 different sets of neighbors. And the last set were like 6 Pakistani college students, and they all left together and they all came back together, and they were constantly like getting Chick-fil-A, like chicken sandwiches shipped. So, open the door and you always smell like fried chicken in the hallway. But man, they were always milling around and mumbling. Like they never sat still. Crazy. Yeah, slamming doors. And And also too, it was like one of those like mega apartment complexes. So everybody had their own washer, dryer. So, you know, you hear appliances constantly. I mean, it was never quiet. There was always like this thrumming in the building. The building had it was always going whoomp, 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 whoomp. Drove me crazy. I had to wear noise canceling headphones. All right. So, and then of course we have AI that, you know, it's not just trades and physical labor. There's the creative side, right? And we're getting way more advancements going on with video and image generation. It seems like every quarter there's like a major innovation. And this guy got a movie in the Tribeca Film Festival, and they're billing it as the first 100% AI movie. And I don't know if it won an award, but he basically has a full-time job. He's not a filmmaker, and he just wanted to make a film, so he was doing it at night. And then he would, you know, he'd generate the video and then edit it. But let's check out this news report, because it's really interesting how this guy's attitude is towards making this movie.
Boundaries of storytelling and creativity. Dreams of Violets is the first movie created entirely by artificial intelligence to debut at the Tribeca Film Festival. It's a fictional drama about 5 strangers who witnessed something very real: the massacre of Iranian civilians back in January. Here's a preview. Joining me now is Ash Kusha, who's the director and producer of the film. Thank you for being here. What was produced by artificial intelligence and what was produced by human intelligence?
Well, thanks for having me. The writing of the script, the ideation, the blocking, and I would say the entire creative force to make decisions to put footage, the end footage, and edited, and as well as the sound and music, is human made. What you see on the picture, the end rendering of the footage, is made using AI models.
So that's pretty interesting. So he kind of was operating from the philosophy that I do, is that you use the AI to do the things you can't do 100%, fills in the gaps, and then it multiplies the other capabilities that you have. So it sounds like when he said blocking, so basically he was framing his story out and getting the AI to write the story, but I didn't hear any dialogue. So maybe he was getting the AI to help him block the shots. Because I think blocking is how you describe shooting shots. Yes, I believe he does. 07. He does mention how much it costs eventually. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Let's see what it is.
So the imagery mostly is, I would say, the AI component. And the reason for that is very obvious, is because it's very hard to make this kind of movie about such a delicate subject.
Can you go further into
in
that?
such a short time.
Why not make this with a real crew, with real actors?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a couple of notes about that. I had to sit and watch and research around 3,000 images and footages of the actual events, the eyewitness accounts. And in order to create a collage of these locations, it would just take months to even prepare the locations.
And not only that, the licensing. He would have to contact all the original people that own that footage, get clearance, and that actually would end up costing more. Because I won't tell you how much it is yet, but he will say it's actually pretty cheap.
Have a large budget to allocate the props and the people and the locations. And I think speed here mattered for me. It was my choice simply because this is a very personal story. It needs to be told very quickly, right? It's a very poetic, impulsive piece of work. So I think I thought for a moment that there's no way for me, not being a professional filmmaker as well, to go get millions of dollars to make this film. So it was just impossible for me.
Yeah, he wouldn't. I mean, he's not in the industry. There's no way he would be able to.
This is the category of film that is just impossible.
And it only
considering what
cost
the
you,
subject matters.
It only cost you $2,000 to make, right? And it's my understanding that this wasn't your day job. You have a different day job. How'd you do it?
Yeah, so I had to basically make blocks of times where I put things to either render, to generate, and then just use my time after work. And that's why it took 2 months. I would have done this in 3 weeks if it was.
That's crazy. Like even, okay, so it took him 2 months, right? Part-time, but he's saying it would have taken him 2 weeks if he just focused on it full-time. And just think about how long it takes Hollywood to make movies, you know, just the regular way. And even when they use CGI, and I know they're slipping AI in there, they're using AI to do a lot of the writing. They won't say it out loud, but I can tell. And they're doing some AI for the graphics. And I know they use AI quite heavily for the movie posters and the marketing and the content around marketing.
Wasn't for my main job.
So in a statement to CBS News, Tribeca Film Festival co-founder Jane Rosenthal says, quote, "What moved us was not just the technological achievement, but the emotional immediacy and urgency of the story itself." I mean, it does look, Ash, very different from a lot of the AI that we see. It does look very realistic. But what do you say to critics of AI who say that this is a slippery slope, who say there are still costs like water and energy, knowing you want to continue making films like this?
They're right. There are a lot of questions around AI, and I think one of them is the cost. And I think it's been well promoted to use AI a lot more than it should be, in my view. And I kind of proved it to myself, first of all, that $2,000 was enough to make the right decisions to generate the videos and the images. And I think the reason for that is that the work done before and after the film are more important. And that is, to me, the methodology.
The cleanup work, using nipping and tucking and putting together the critical thinking or the taste that you have to put in there. So he used AI to generate materials, and then he used his personal taste to put those materials together. I'm totally for that. To me, I think that's the correct usage of AI in this case. I don't know what your opinion is on that, but that's how I use it all day long.
Methodology, systems, tools, and ways of dealing with the final generation that makes these new forms of movies and content. And I think we need to educate people about that, because that is the stem and the seed of the future jobs.
So
That's how
I heard
think,
you in a different
yeah.
interview saying, like, for example, the lighting guy, instead of physically putting the lights together on a set, would be a consultant and working on how to light the AI image we're seeing. Is that what you see as the evolution of this industry?
Think about light, sound, think about the music, think about all these things that need creative choices, right? At the end of the day, I have a background in making stuff incredibly fast. Before AI, I was making like 10 albums a month or something.
Okay, so there you go. Even with AI, all this stuff about, Dario Amodei saying, oh yeah, it's going to replace half of all jobs, whatever. I keep saying it. It's a tool, and if you give a saw to a baby, you're going to get a jagged table. If you give a saw to a master carpenter, you're going to get a beautiful table. So yeah, I just, he's saying the same thing. Like I got to talk to somebody that actually knows how to do the lighting. I mean, you could probably spend time talking to an AI to I don't want to say learn, but try and explain what you want and show it examples. But somebody that knows the lingo and can just put it in there, wham, bam, done. Way better results.
I'm just acquainted with technology, but I think there are a lot of people in cinema, in music, in art, that are creative enough to learn these new tools and then come into these new teams and just take on the responsibility and operate these models. And I think these models respond a lot better when somebody who knows the craft, who knows the creative work, as opposed to just anyone, any consumer that would pick up these tools, right? Because they wouldn't know where to begin.
Did you hire any of them for this project?
Not for this project, as it's sensitive, and I was really learning about this stuff. So it happened over 2 months. But now I'm in the middle of the second project where I'm actually getting real people. I'm licensing voices. I'm licensing faces. Because in a fictional setting, now you can actually give people the opportunity to have a share of the profit of the film for the work that they do. I think it's a good opportunity for a reset. And I'm not very pro AI in general. I've worked in the AI research for 10 years, but I'm not necessarily the most like vocal advocate for AI the way it is. But I think this is the beginning of finding the better solutions for usability of AI and the utility.
Well, Ash.
There you go. So I don't know what y'all think about that, but that's somebody I think who's got it right. Whether you agree with using AI to create art or make a movie. I mean, the guy did it in his spare time for $2,000 and he's in a film festival. So that in and of itself is interesting. And I'm surprised Hollywood didn't push back on that. So the times they are changing, that's for sure. Something that you don't really hear a lot about in the media as a chain reaction to all these layoffs, especially in big tech, which is a great example because it's a microcosm, that for one job lost, it actually equals other related jobs lost or as a loss of revenue. In fact, really quick, let me ask Jiminy Cricket here. Oops, wrong window. Jiminy Cricket, there we go. What's the numbers are? Because I believe, well, here, let me just ask. What is the study that looks at the number of jobs that are lost for every one layoff in the Bay Area? It might infer big tech from that, but I might have to clarify some more. But this is where the study was done. And I think it was like 1 to 16. For every one big tech job, it was something like 16 when you narrow it down to big tech. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like there's newer information. You may be thinking the research on the local employment multiplier associated with tech jobs. Let's see, it's saying each high-tech job supports roughly 4 to 5 additional local jobs in the surrounding economy: restaurants, retail, construction, healthcare, professional services, etc. So there's this domino effect. And apparently people are starting to notice it.
It is one of the biggest Bay Area job losses in years. And this evening, we're getting a look at the potential ripple effect. Meta revealed in state filings it's laying off more than 3,000 workers in the region. The Menlo Park headquarters was hit very hard. According to the EDD, the tech company cut more than 2,200 jobs from its main office. And those losses are now causing some major concern for small businesses in the area. Drew Andre heard from one owner who counted on those customers.
All this table would be full with customers, full with clients. But as you see now, it's way less people coming in, and this is supposed to be our peak time.
The restaurants in downtown Menlo Park tell this story.
You can tell it's just not what it used to be.
Meta
And Menlo Park is money. Like, it is big money.
is the largest employer in Menlo Park and a reliable source of business.
It was very much like it's our gold pot.
Or at least it was. Owner of Bistro Vita, Ali El Safi, says the days of packed lunch crowds and happy hours are gone. Every time he hears of more layoffs at Meta,
what goes through your mind?
Trouble.
The job cuts here in Menlo Park are impacting a wide range of positions, from engineers to product managers. And industry experts say these jobs targeted are different than previous layoffs.
This one is eliminating jobs at the higher end of that value chain. So it's about to get interesting. Some say surreal.
Meta is cutting 10% of its workforce to...
You know, I'm going to tell you a dirty secret about big tech. and it's kind of a layer cake. But usually what they do is they've always overhired. They always overhire, and they do it for multiple reasons. One is to take as much talent out of the pool so their competitors can't get that talent. And two, it's also kind of a redundancy practice. They're worried that, you know, they need to have backups, but it's mostly like, haha, we got more butts and seats than you do. We got the big money and you can't have them. It's kind of been like that. So double that or multiply that by the effect of overhiring due to COVID. So the effect of that is even greater. So that's what a lot of these layoffs are. And you know, to be real, what is Facebook really doing that's new all the time that would warrant 10,000 developers and project managers? I can't really name any other projects other than their metaverse, which was a total flop. They renamed their company from Facebook for it, right? Yeah. So what is it you do here? That's definitely it. And this is actually best exemplified by when Elon Musk, he went into Twitter before he called it X, and he laid off, I think it was 83%. It was the vast majority of the engineering and software staff, and a lot of other some like administrative and other things. And a beat wasn't missed. And I can tell you from personal private chats of friends of mine that have worked very hard to get into FANG companies, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, FAANG. It's called the FANG. If you don't know, that's sort of like the personification of big tech, and those are like the companies that have like the highest of the best. You know, the 12 interview process. You know, they grind you down, test you, ask you all these weird psychological evaluation questions. I mean, it is a really weird, freaky interview process, and a lot of people just learn how to pass the interview to get in the door. And a good chunk of my friends and associates that got into those companies and many other big tech companies and startups, once they get in, they barely do anything. Sit there and collect a paycheck. So all the more basically, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have the data to show you, but just, you know, I'm hearing on the street and from all my other peers and other people that I talk to that, you know, went on to have very big positions in corporations and things like that. That's usually how the conversation goes. Or they become the total workhorse bitch. They're just ground down to the bone, and they quit within a year or two, like 1 to 2 years. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of dead weight in these companies. And there was a lot of clout in having all these people in your company. And when you have a lot of useless people or a top-heavy company, that means the side effect is you're going to have a lot of bureaucracy. You're going to have a lot of performative work, you know, like having meetings to have meetings, a lot of time wasted. And Elon wasn't having none of that. So he ground it down to the bone, got that 20% left over. Twitter didn't miss a beat. In fact, I think it got better, if you want my opinion. So yeah, that's really what's happening. There really isn't like a mass layoff due to AI. But that being said, AI is a threat. It's definitely going to be a threat. Okay, so let's see. Well, I have another video here I wanted to let me clean up here. Hold on. I don't do this for a living, folks. That being said, if you haven't already, please like the video. And I didn't do the proper housekeeping, but for those of you that are regulars, I have the AI characters. If you do want to talk to the AI characters, you do need to be a subscriber. And There are some commands. Let me get those up for you just real quick. Just do some quick housekeeping. So here are the commands to talk to the AI characters in the live chat. So you prefix the command that you see there, followed by a space with your question. And the Hail 9000 and Sasquatch are vocal. The other two are not, at least not yet. So I'll leave that up while I get the next thing queued up here. All right. So continuing on that thread that I'm working up to, existential crisis with AI, and how AI is affecting us in lots of different ways that maybe we're not directly aware of, kind of like a boiling frog, as it were. Even before AI, we have algorithms, right? That would like recommend movies to you, judge you for banking, your credit, insurance coverage, all that stuff. We've had algorithms like that for years and years and years. And you bring in AI and now they can do way more in-depth, way more detail. So, okay, insurance is one thing. Getting medical treatment's another thing. But what about just buying freaking groceries? So check out this this report that let's see, it was on More Perfect Union. They had 400 people. They really wanted to like catch them in the act. They had 400 people shop for groceries to basically figure out like how these pricing algorithms work. You're not going to like it, but let's watch this.
The holy grail for a long time has been, what if we could charge every single person the maximum amount that we know they're able to or willing to pay?
How about that? And if you look at those cards, there's not like a massive difference in the dollar amount, but in the cents, right? You're going to see some drift. But particular products, they'll increase the prices a lot because they know people will use those more than others. But yeah, it was Instacart 07. There is an Instacart because this is the only way they could really organize it. But if you go into Walmart, because any store that has an app, watch out.
They know things about us that we don't know. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in a way that is incalculable.
Walk into any grocery store, and on average, everything is about 30% more expensive than it was in 2020.
Inflation, supply chains, tariffs.
We've heard it all.
Yeah, I don't know about 30%. It feels way more than 30%. Chat, tell me what you think it is. Obviously I saw eggs, like a carton. I always buy 60 eggs in like a box. And I remember the most expensive they got was $39 for 60 eggs. There were some other factors, but just in general, groceries were really obnoxious.
But what if something else is happening? Something intentional. What if someone is charged $2 for these eggs, but another person is charged $2.40 at the same exact store? And it's pushing prices up. 5 months ago, a researcher reached out to me about Instacart. She'd been studying their Washington, D.C. workforce. Different pay for nearly identical work. Her question, if they do this to workers, what about consumers? Before joining More Perfect Union, I worked in grocery pricing, so I agreed to help investigate. The problem? It wasn't easy to test. Grocery prices change all the time, for legitimate reasons. Receipts you can't compare.
That's true.
If we wanted to do this, we'd need a team. A researcher, community organizers, other journalists, and most importantly, regular people who care.
Yeah, so that's kind of the interesting thing is like, yes, prices do fluctuate, and largely due to gas prices, because all along the supply chain, fuel is used in some way, shape, or form to either harvest, ship, refrigerate, store, deliver the groceries. There's always energy being expended, so cost of fuel can make it fluctuate a lot. But yeah, there's way more going on here.
Lots of them. 5 months of digging. What we found is bigger than Instacart. Yes, inflation is real, but something else has been pushing prices higher this whole time. There's a system, one that grocery stores and tech companies built together. It learns from every purchase.
It's not just online. It's in the physical stores you walk into, with the primary goal, maximize profit.
Day by day, it's moving billions of dollars, one penny at a time.
Yeah, I'm almost at the point where if I go in the store and I see those electronic tags, I'm not going to shop there.
Here's how we uncovered it, how it's turning the grocery business into a gold mine, and why, without regulation, your grocery bill may keep climbing no matter what happens with inflation.
Yeah.
I'm now going to ask you to take out your phone, and we're going to get started with shopping for 20 items at the Safeway.
This is Katie Wells. She's the Director of Research at Groundwork Collaborative. She's the one who reached out. The plan was pretty simple. Get everyone in a room, open up Instacart, select the same store, same items, on phones and computers. Select pickup to remove any delivery calculations, and write our basket totals down on a note card. All to test a simple question. Were shoppers being charged different amounts for the same exact item at the same exact store and time?
Congratulations, guys. You have finished the test.
First, we all shared our cart totals.
We're in the same room, the same address ordering, and we still had different prices.
That's interesting, because one of the things that I wanted to find out is, even though they're ordering at the same address, these people have profiles where they put in the address of where they live, which is going to be attached to their credit card, right? So the address where you live can say a lot about, what you can afford. If you're in a house, you're renting, maybe they might know a little about your ethnicity and some other demographics. There's a lot of things that can be inferred with AI through public data that wouldn't have been possible before. It wouldn't have been computationally cheap enough to do it. So yeah, that's interesting how they use the same delivery address. So it's got to be something about the information they put in about themselves that affects the price. That's the first thing.
You're the highest.
I'm not surprised. What I've come to understand is that a lot of things that we do online is predicated on algorithms.
Different totals. There's plausible explanations. Promotions, user error, app issues. But if the items themselves had different prices, that's something else.
The items had upwards of 3 different prices offered.
Katie analyzed the data.
The greatest difference was about a 70-cent spread. For eggs, the prices varied from $4.59 to $4.69 down to $4.28. It was a 41-cent span.
One store, one moment in time. It's a small sample size. This could be a fluke.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have found your way to the Consumer Reports Grocery Pricing webinar.
The problem with testing any of this is that these systems are so massive that you need scale to even try. Consumer Reports joined the collaboration. They brought a volunteer network, community organizers, a reporter. Alongside them, we recruited volunteers, over 400 people. Same process. Everyone opens
Midwest,
Instacart.
South,
same store, same items.
all over.
When pickup wasn't available, same delivery address, same moment. Screenshot everything. Submit. The team verified every entry, cross-checked every screenshot, built the database. Katie crunched the data. And when the data came back, I gotta be honest, I stared at it for a while because...
Yeah, 07, not just browser history, but your purchase history. So if they know you buy the same thing over and over and over, they're probably like, oh, that guy really likes that. We'll bump it up a few more cents. And you do that to, 10,000 people, that's real money coming in the door.
What we found was weird. I'm going to show you some basket totals. Some people were charged about $114 for the 20 items. Others, nearly $124.
Wow.
This wasn't in 1 or 2 cases. This was the lion's share of shoppers for the lion's share of items.
If you zoom in, nearly 3 out of 4 products had different prices during the experiments. 4 different prices for wheat thins. 5 different prices for eggs. 3 prices for peanut butter.
Wait, what? The system sorted people into price groups, where each person was charged the same for every item. For this test, there were 4 price groups: same cart, same store, same moment. Same with this test. For this store, 7 different price groups. This didn't seem random, but who or what was doing the sorting? Back in August, before we even ran the test, I called Instacart. We don't set prices, retailers do. And we believed them, but the group suggested something deeper was going on. Why would an algorithm sort people into buckets where everyone pays the exact same prices? Not just on one item, but across multiple products.
So that's interesting. So there's definitely like, so for those of you that aren't mathematical, and I'm barely mathematical, there's buckets. There's obvious buckets they put people in. So it's not like they're doing random range. There's set prices for obvious categories or buckets of people.
All lower together. I started researching, and that's when I stumbled on surveillance pricing. Companies tracking your behavior, your purchase history, and charging you based on that. It's a type of algorithmic pricing where companies hand pricing over to an algorithm.
It's almost impossible for people outside the companies practicing the dark art of algorithm price determination, exactly what is driving those algorithms to set the prices that we observe.
I can also tell you from cybersecurity specialist that I know and my AI mentor that I studied under last year, he personally wrote an algorithm for a grocery store chain where they were using the mobile apps, the Bluetooth in the mobile apps to track your motion in the store. And there was 2 reasons why they did it. The first reason was they wanted the optimal layout of where to place things in the store. But they also wanted to figure out what people were going to first and last in the store, because they had this theory about increasing the price on the first thing and making the last thing cheaper. And they wanted to play around with that a little bit. So I probably shouldn't name names, but yeah, they put Bluetooth radios in the stores. They're like usually in the end caps and inside the shelves. And if you have your Bluetooth on in your phone, yeah, you might want to turn your Bluetooth off. And if you use the mobile app in the store, which I'm guilty of, I love that Walmart mobile app. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, I didn't know they were monitoring my movement in the store with the Bluetooth. So there you go.
Len Sherman studies this at Columbia's Business School. Was that what was happening here? When we showed Instacart the test results, they were clear. Retailers control all pricing. The findings were just stores putting out random feelers to see where the pricing sweet spot is. They aren't targeting you specifically. So we verified with the stores we tested. First, Albertsons Safeway. They're an Instacart partner.
Well, to be honest, I don't know about where it's like you are, Safeway and Albertsons, excuse me, easily 25, 30% more than all the other stores I shop at, just off the top.
Silence. Then we contacted Target. They responded. And honestly, my jaw dropped. They told us, we don't work with Instacart. We don't set prices. We have nothing to do with any of this. Wait, Instacart says retailers control the prices, and Target says they don't even work with Instacart? I started digging. Turns out in 2017, Target spent over $500 million to buy Shipt, Instacart's competitor. Why would...
I can also tell you Target has a massive amount of AI infrastructure, and they use a lot of it to optimize their layout. And there's that old story, I wonder how long ago that was, where they figured out who was pregnant before they knew they were pregnant, and they would start sending them ads for like prams and things. Let me see if we'll ask ChatGPT about that. When did that information come out about Target using algorithms and potentially AI to determine who was potentially pregnant, and then using that information to send targeted ads? Because I believe the way the story went is that a father, his daughter who had just come back from college was living at their house, and there was like all these ads coming in for her, you know, in her name, basically like, hey, get this crib, get this, you know, baby cart. And he's like, oh, my daughter's not pregnant. What's all this about? And then it turned out she was preggers. That was the stink about it. Let's see here. Oh, it's all the way as far back as 2012. So again, like I'm saying, the algorithms have always been there. And AI is another form of algorithm, but the AI allows them to do it at scale and automated. That's what we're talking about here. So it sees, the key article, How Companies Learn Your Secrets by Charles Duhigg, published in the New York Times Magazine on February 16th, 2012. It described how Target used predictive analysis to identify customers who were likely pregnant based on purchasing patterns and assign them a pregnancy practice or prediction score. And I can tell you the same math, because this would not be generative AI, which is relatively new to us. This would be machine learning, which is a form of statistics. They would use linear regression, you know, put a bunch of dots on a graph and then do a line, and then have that line would extend out. That's how they make predictions. Machine learning's been around for a long time. So it's, you know, an older form of AI that's not, you know, as well known to people in the public. And for those of you that are new to the channel, I've talked about how AI has been around since the mid-50s. But anyway, yeah. So here it is in the bottom. The reason the story became so influential is that was one of the first mainstream examples that made many people realize companies could infer highly sensitive information, not from what customers explicitly told them, but from patterns in seemingly ordinary shopping behavior. So, like I always say, the algorithms have always been there. Nothing's new. It's just AI allows them to do it faster and at scale. New scale.
Would they help Instacart? We asked Instacart about Target's response. Instacart admitted they actually do manage Target's prices on the marketplace, and that they were running tests to figure out how much they can charge on top of Target's normal prices. Their explanation shifted, but the question we started with was still the same. How does the system sort people into different price groups? To figure that out, we needed to understand what Instacart actually does. You may think of Instacart as a delivery app, but it's much bigger than that.
With Instacart is more the technology. I don't think of it as a grocery delivery company. I think of it more of a technology company.
Selling technology that powers grocery websites, advertising campaigns, promotions. In 2022, Instacart bought Eversight, a company that optimizes grocery prices.
Eversight says it runs constant experiments that are not made visible to consumers, and it is running tests in part to collect data about how much I'm willing to pay
an algorithm
for
to
canola
me.
oil, and it's using that information to likely create more profits for these companies.
The company calls it AI for Everyday Price Performance. The website promises 2 to 5% profit increases. In early November, Consumer Reports ran follow-up experiments at Costco. They found price gaps, 15% on a bag of chips.
Fucking $9, almost $10 for a bag of freaking chips, dude. God. It's not, I mean, they're not good for you, but you know, every once in a while, but $10.
Rick asked Costco to explain.
We got an email a few hours later from a Costco vice president of grocery.
The message described a program called Smart Rounding.
You know, it took us a little bit of time to realize what we were seeing, which was an internal communication between Instacart and Costco. Inadvertently, this Costco executive forwarded us this internal email.
As far as we can tell, Instacart has only talked about Smart Rounding once, in a 2023 letter to shareholders. The company defined it. Machine learning-driven tool that helps retailers.
There you go, machine learning. That's the pre-generative AI.
Retailers improve price perception and drive incremental sales. Translation: flex prices up or down based on what the algorithm says will maximize profit.
For some of our major grocery partners, this has led to millions of dollars in annual incremental sales.
Millions of dollars.
This is a very sophisticated, very deliberate, explicit attempt to maximize profits and do so somewhat surreptitiously.
We'd answered some questions. Different prices for different people. Yes. Random testing? Maybe not. Smart rounding showed it's designed for profit. Retailers in control? Debatable. Instacart sets at least one grocer's prices. But we still couldn't answer, how does the system sort people into price groups? Then one store showed us the bigger picture.
Here we go.
Schnucks,
the buckets.
Regional grocer. They're on every Instacart press release. No price variation at all. One night it hit me. What if they already moved past online testing? You've probably heard stories about electronic shelf labels,
those labels,
digital price tags that can change prices instantly. If they're testing prices in store with those labels, and the app just mirrors what's on the shelf, you'd never catch it with our test, which might explain Schnucks. The typical fear with these labels is surge pricing, raising lemonade prices when it's hot out. What if the goal isn't surge pricing at all? What if it's more subtle, more permanent? Would you rather charge $10 for a bottle of water during a single hurricane? Or 20 cents more every single day? Derek had a genius idea. Patents. He found one. It described an infrastructure for constant in-store price testing. Take dozens of stores, cluster them together, test different prices in different clusters. The purpose? Find out the most profitable price point.
See what I'm saying? You could not do this without AI. It just wouldn't be worth your while. Wouldn't be worth your while.
You do? Adopt it. We asked Schnucks and Instacart. Both denied it. But for Instacart, their website told a different story. If you go there right now, you'd see this. 3 features. Before we asked, 4 features. And the one removed? Price optimization with Eversight via electronic shelf labels. Gone. So Instacart denied doing it, then changed their website. Later, they told us it was never a feature and the update was made for accuracy. But that didn't track. The feature seems to show up in past marketing materials and...
This is our modern life. Your quality of life is only one software update away. That's where we are. It takes one software update to ruin your quality of life.
Press releases. If it's operational, the system would be a truly impressive feat of engineering. In store, testing across locations. Online, testing across individuals. But we still couldn't answer how the online system decided who gets charged more. So we started building a theory, not based on what Instacart told us, but on what Instacart told the government. Patents. The word that appears over and over in them, it's not random. It's segmentation. Derek started reading through the criteria they could use to sort people. Some things raised red flags. Demographics. It's illegal to charge someone more based on those. Katie controlled for that. No correlation in the sample.
Okay. I don't believe they would try to vary prices based on those kinds of characteristics.
I'll tell you what, if the law wasn't there, they sure as hell would try it. There's no limit to corporate greed. Yeah, I see. 07, I don't know that Oracle is basically housing all data. I'd have to look more into that. I mean, they're like one of the oldest players on the internet in terms of infrastructure, the data side of it. But they went in big, huge with OpenAI in data centers. And my understanding is that Ellison is in deep water if OpenAI does not start printing the real dollars. I think it's going to ruin them. Yeah, I don't. That's a great question. I really don't know the answer to that. Frankly, Oracle is just that's why they're getting in a lot into the AI and the data centers, because a lot of their customers it's like old legacy shit. That's not the first company that comes to mind now when you're like building software, websites, mobile apps, or Oracle is not really used anymore. It's usually, it's old stuff, legacy systems. All right. Anyway, get back to it here.
Nor would it be very effective if they did. What would be way more effective and perfectly legal, as far as I know, is to vary prices based on behavioral characteristics.
Behavioral characteristics. That's exactly what the patents show. Buying behavior, purchase history, how frequently you shop, whether you're shopping around, coupon usage, loyalty program participation.
I bet you that coupon, like if you don't use coupons at all, they're probably like, yeah, we can bump it a little more. Yeah. But if you're a penny pincher, they probably wouldn't like go more than a little bit. Interesting.
An infrastructure that tracks everything you do, uses it to decide what to charge you. We asked Instacart, does this explain who gets sorted into different price groups? Their response? One old patent from 2015, before we purchased Eversight. Patents are always broad. This doesn't prove we're actually using this technology. Fair point. Here's the same chart and a host of other patents, mostly
You only
about
file a
promotions.
patent. You only file a patent to sue someone else for copying your patent. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why you do it. And if you don't sue, you lose the right to your patent. Patent law is weird.
Marketing material that touts the patents. And then this one, a promotional patent that describes shopper and product headroom, meaning how much more money could this person spend overall? And how much more could they spend on this product?
Damn.
The patent says they can calculate this for every individual consumer. But for efficiency, typically people are grouped with similar consumers.
Yeah.
Groups. Just like our test showed.
Because that would be too big of a job for the amount of data. So putting people in buckets would make it a lot easier. Just because computationally, it would be too expensive. Because I've talked about this before. AI is subsidized. They don't know. OpenAI and all these other companies aren't really charging what it's really worth. And while you can host your own internal brains or your own AI, they're not anywhere near as good as the publicly available ones, because they spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year to train their AIs. And the ones that you get off, that you can like literally download off the internet yourself and train them a little bit yourself. Yeah, you're not going to spend $100 million to pinch pennies on your customers. So yeah, making buckets makes sense.
Every company that I know is practicing first-degree price discrimination strenuously denies that they're doing so.
And again, Instacart denies segmenting people by personal or behavioral data.
Yeah, they get sued.
What happens when companies actually do this at scale?
It could be easily misconstrued. And I'm pausing for fair use, by the way, YouTube. I'm transforming this with my commentary and satire. Because a lot of what they're doing could be misconstrued as forget what the laws are. It's like equal opportunity, where you can't discriminate against race, religion, and now sexual orientation, all that stuff. You could inadvertently be discriminating against those people, even though you don't intentionally mean to. There could be a bias in the algorithm that would accidentally result in prejudices or bias against a particular demographic, because you're collecting human behavior. And so that's how it could manifest. So it's just the safer move for them to just go, nope, we're not doing that. And just because we have the patent doesn't mean we're using it. So that's why they're denying us. Not necessarily because they're being nefarious, but they are greedy. They just don't want to get sued for something they know that a bias could manifest in a bad way if somebody like this guy is really paying attention. That's all this really is.
In 2022, Uber rolled out algorithmic pricing for riders and drivers. Len studied what happened next.
For the next 3 years, average rider price per mile went up.
Uber denies all of this. But at about this time, they went from burning money to a cash machine.
That's why more and more companies are trying as hard as they can to perfect this dark art. Devilishly effective dark art, as I've called it. That's how you turn grocery sales into a gold mine.
Now, algorithmic pricing sometimes offers lower prices, and the total impact on grocery prices, impossible to measure. Instacart is just one company, a sliver of the grocery market. They claim 10 clients with Eversight. What are other companies doing? I started looking.
Pricing is the single most powerful lever to raise profits, far more effective than either boosting sales or cutting costs.
Prices optimized. Profit increases.
There's an entire industry built around optimizing grocery prices. I called Earl Schweizer, 25 years in grocery, former VP of grocery at Whole Foods. Why is everyone racing to adopt this?
It's very much defensive. Amazon's already doing it. Walmart is doing it. So everybody's got to keep up.
Well, that sounds an awful lot like China's doing it, so we got to do it.
Merchants, pricing teams, they all rely on technology and algorithms to safeguard their profits.
That's Walmart's former VP of pricing.
So Instacart has played this really vital role for the competitors of Amazon and Walmart, which is pretty much almost everybody else, to have a lot of the same tools and access to consumers as the big guys.
The systems are watching you, learning your patterns, using that to charge everyone accordingly.
They know things about us that we don't know. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in a way that is incalculable.
So again, this is like I was showing you in this article over here. They've been doing this for years, the monitoring the ordinary shopping behavior and trying to translate that into profits. But this is a very fine line where, let's say somebody that's African American tends to buy one product en masse more than white people do. And, that could affect the bias in the algorithm, which by law, could be discrimination. So that, again, that's why they're hiding it. But also, too, how do I put this? I have to be really careful. You know what? Let me think about it some more. We'll get back to the video.
This didn't happen overnight. 20 years of building this infrastructure. It was kept in check by inertia. Everyone was afraid to raise prices. COVID changed that.
There's no guardrails. It's a free-for-all. It's wild, wild west.
Companies are investing millions into systems designed to outsmart you. Testing, learning, finding the maximum profit.
The holy grail for a long time has been, what if we could charge every single person the maximum amount that we know they're able to or willing to pay?
Able to, not just willing, able to.
Studies like this are just validating that firms are very much already midway through trying this, executing it.
That's Lena Khan, former chair of the Federal Trade Commission. She agreed to review our findings with an eye to how we should protect consumers.
This could ultimately end up being another big form of wealth transfer from ordinary Americans to massive corporations.
I asked about the in-store testing apparatus, electronic shelf labels, the patents.
Firms have been trying to figure that out for many decades, but I think what's different now is both the sophistication of the tools that are available, just the deep information asymmetries that exist between consumers and these firms that
AI came
are
along,
benefiting.
But there was something else that concerned her.
When you have companies like Instacart that could be facilitating, it could also ultimately allow firms that really should be competing against one another when setting these prices to actually engage more in something that looks like price fixing or collusion.
Because it could mean that one company, Instacart, is setting prices for retailers who should be competing with each other. Then I asked her about regulation. Her answer surprised me.
I think
so again, this is a problem with corporate and shitification, is they're thinking short term. They don't think long term. They're trying to squeeze the most out now. And everyone you transact with is trying to squeeze you for the maximum amount. Like even when you go buy a coffee or food, they're asking you for a tip before you even get your shit. It's like, no, I don't do that. If they ask for the tip before I get my stuff, I don't pay it. All right.
We need to have a much more first order conversation about, do we even want to permit some of these tactics in the first instance?
Under Khan's watch, the FTC started an investigation into surveillance pricing.
This week, it launched an investigation, the FTC, into the use of AI to rapidly change pricing.
That investigation is now in question. The Trump administration claims it is ongoing, but Khan's replacement stopped public comments. But Lena pointed out that states don't need to wait for the Trump administration.
The steps we've seen, even from states like California and New York, to ban certain types of algorithmic price fixing in areas like housing and rent, for example, I think are extraordinarily important steps. We need more investigations. So I think we need a 360 view to try to understand what's really happening here.
5 months, 3 organizations, 400 volunteers. We know the system exists for surveillance pricing, but we don't know if it's operational because
they don't know if it's operational. All right. Well, the other thing that makes this possible, again, I was talking about the different generations of AI. They've had the machine learning form, which is basically just statistics. They've had that for decades. It's been around for a long time. Now with generative AI or those LLMs, you literally can talk to the data. And those generative AI brains, the same ones that make the robots better, it makes the companies more effective in literally, like I said, literally talking to their data. And those LLMs can find the patterns, those deeper patterns, enhanced by what the machine learning is doing. So that's what's going on. Just behind just kind of how they would implement it, they're doing it. They're doing it. Okay, so I guess it's time for the main event. I know kind of stretched that a little bit long tonight, but there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about tonight. So those of you that are still here, thanks for sticking with me. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Support your boy Jacob while I queue up the next video here. So let's just listen to a little bit of Pope Leo's speech here so you can kind of get a sense of what he's suggesting. And it's not unlike what our buddy the Boston senator who says robotics, Bernie Sanders, and many actually surprisingly quite progressive politicians have the same opinion.
Pope Leo is issuing a warning about artificial intelligence. He warns that AI can make civilizations less human, hollow out the middle class, create mass unemployment, and concentrate wealth in the hands of the few.
What? The Catholic Church is against feudalism?
And Makovich spoke with a colleague of a professor from the South Bay who was invited by Pope Leo to speak about the relationship of artificial intelligence and religion.
When it comes to artificial intelligence, the scale of what's coming can boggle the mind. But Dr. Leocadi Lashumbo has a unique perspective from the human side of the debate. The assistant professor of theological ethics at Santa Clara Jesuit School of Theology has a seat on the world stage, and we got to speak with her colleague, Elise Radley.
I think she's a nun, too.
Dr. Lashumbo has been rising in visibility within the Vatican, and so it's amazing, but not all that surprising that she was chosen for this event.
Not for her AI expertise, but her research into theological and social ethics and the way AI could impact just about everything.
Labor, economic injustice, warfare, peacemaking, political participation, communications, healthcare, education, all of these fields.
The Vatican said Leo focused his first encyclical on AI because of its potential effects on human beings and on humanity as a whole, and the Church's concern for the dignity of every human being.
Artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed.
Also,
disarmed. Interesting choice of words, but that's basically the sentiment. Existential threat to people, but let's be honest, it's an existential threat to the church because people ain't making money, they ain't tithing. Let's just be real. All right, so I've got the tech report, Fair Use YouTube. I'm transforming this work with my commentary and satire. And it's titled, Why We Should Care About the Pope's AI Crusade. And they're going to talk about some, this one's going to get a little deep, so bear with me here. I normally don't get super philosophical, but yeah, there's some existential threats here we got to deal with AI. So let's check it out.
We have the ear of the Pope. We have, in some ways, the rubber stamp of the Catholic Church. We are not like those other AI labs that are doing mucky things.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Report. I'm tech journalist Natasha Bernal, filling in for Isaac this week. With me today is tech journalist Chris Stoker-Walker. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Natasha.
Thank you for being here. So, Pope Leo XIV has waded into the existential debate on AI, and he seems to have fallen on the side of those who don't really seem to like it that much. In his first major teaching document of his papacy called Magnifica Humanitas, he's warned that artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed. So, Chris, what did he say exactly, and why should we listen to him?
Yeah, it was a long old document, 43,000 words or so, that we have to try and trawl our way through. Hopefully he did number the paragraphs, so that helped a little bit. He effectively tries to frame AI, I think, as a massive political, massive moral issue, something that needs to be grappled with now, otherwise it will have a meaningful negative impact on humanity. And often a lot of the conversations that we've had around AI have been focused on the technical side of things and the issues to do with that. But actually,
environmental.
Here Leo is saying that we need to do more in terms of the real soft impact of AI. The fact that it is going in the wrong direction, the idea that it is contributing to, as he said, an unending war. And so his call effectively is for us to have a broader conversation around this, to say that actually, we need to be careful of a whole bunch of things. So misinformation, political manipulation, the idea that perhaps actually it could optimize us to the extent that we become significantly less human and potentially exploit some of the weaknesses that we have as human beings. So that could be psychological impacts, it could be economical impacts, and so on and so forth. And basically saying that governments need to step in and regulate, as well as the tech industry stepping up and saying, actually,
so let me ask you a question. How would you regulate an existential crisis? That's I don't know how you could do that. It's like trying to legislate morality. You just can't do it. There has to be something ingrained in you. And that's what a lot of the founding fathers first, they prefaced everything that they were building on things that were ingrained into, the human, the existential aspects of humanity. So, the answer is just stop it. Don't build the things. Don't do it. But the cat's out of the bag. It's too late. It's way, way too late. And China's doing it, so we got to do it.
We need to do a bit more about this as well.
It was a hugely widely sweeping sort of set of statements. He quoted Gandalf. He used some very powerful imagery. I'm just wondering, he wasn't alone in all of this, right? He had a very surprising guest in his announcement on Monday, which was the Anthropic co-founder, Christopher Olah. Why was he there?
It's a good question, and one I think that we'd have to ask the Vatican, but it was significant that he was there. And in part, I think, indicates quite how this massive treatise came to be. Pope Leo didn't just sit down and write this off the back of his own efforts. He
used ChatGPT.
A whole team around him, has been taking lots of advice from those both within the industry and those within theology, as, by the way, has Anthropic, the company, of course, that Chris Olah is a co-founder of. And so it almost felt, when they were announcing this, that it was a partnership in some ways, which I think probably plays very well for Anthropic, because it makes them look like the good moral actors that they hope to be, perhaps.
Good moral actors. He was the first one to come out and said, half of all jobs gone.
There is some concern around the way in which they are quite so close, because some of the language that Chris Olah was talking about when he was there in the Vatican also very much echoed some of the language that was in the actual document itself put together by Pope Leo. So there's always that concern, I suppose, about the idea of perhaps some sort of either regulatory or just kind of conversational capture when you have a certain vested interest being engaged in a conversation at such a high level and perhaps formulating and shaping this. But ultimately, Natasha, the reason why he was there is Chris Olah, we know, has thought about this an awful lot. He is seen as one of the more philosophical members of Anthropic, which is already a hugely philosophical organization. Thinking,
I'm going to call him out on that. I call bullshit. Give you some little history about Anthropic. Don't forget that Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, was on the board of OpenAI in the early days, along with Elon Musk, I believe, at the same time. And he left under concerns. This is what they're writing on now, but they've already shown their hand to be different. He left because of safety concerns. So the whole reason they started Anthropic to make their own chatbots because we want to follow, safety and do it right and put all the guardrails and, make AI as safe as possible and prevent all the apocalyptic stuff from happening. But yet he turns around and goes on the news and says, half of all jobs going away because, by the way, I'm trying to sell the government AI. And then there was that whole poop where between him and Trump, where Trump basically kicked them off the government list of approved vendors. And they're begging to get back on there so the military can use their AIs. And then they also took off some of the wording in their documents on their website around safety. So they've changed their tune. So this talk about Anthropic kind of being the more philosophical company, I don't think is as true anymore.
About the consequences of AI. And I think that it's an indication of quite how deep those ties are going between Anthropic and organized religion.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that he wasn't standing there with perhaps an organization that represents victims of AI or deep fakes or anything like that, that he was stood there with a company that is very much on the forefront of the AI race, right? He talked about the sort of victimization, the weaponization of AI. He talked about, the regulation needs to happen. What did Ola actually say about what he thought that the good things were from Pope Leo's address?
Yeah, he basically thought that he thought that this was an attempt to try and provide some moral guidance to a technology that he described as mysterious and even unsettling, I think, which was quite astounding. We know that of all of the AI labs who have a belief that what they are doing is world-changing and perhaps that AI has some sort of consciousness, Anthropic is one of those that ascribes, I think, more readily to that belief than many of the others, although I think probably to some extent all of those labs do believe that. And it also, I think, reflects a broader conversation that's been going on between Anthropic and various representatives of organized religion. There was, in late March, a conclave, almost literally you could describe it as that, between a bunch of Christian theologists, religious leaders, academics, big thinkers in this space in Anthropic, where they were invited in to the Anthropic offices effectively to try and provide some discussion, some debate around key questions that Anthropic had about the questions that Claude was asking the users of this tool. So, ideas about its morality, about its sentience, about where it exists and what its role is in the world. And there were about 15 people in that original conversation. I've actually just been reporting out a story this week where I spoke to two of the people who were.
I gotta pause it here. This whole idea that AI has a soul, and in the news they're talking about how they're I think all the big AI companies are hiring philosophers to talk to these AIs to see if they can instill some kind of like morality in them and things like that. But the more I use these tools, the more I see that they have no soul. You're the one that has to have the morality. You have to have the judgment. You have to have the critical thinking. So it's the people that have to be trained on how to use these things morally, ethically. That's the real danger, because the AI doesn't know. When I say AI, I mean like LLMs, chatbots, and now agentic AI, which is basically the same brain in a chatbot is now fully autonomous, but it's connected through online tools, can browse the web, touch files on your computer, erase databases, things like that. The AI doesn't know when it's lying or misleading. It It's evident by when it kisses your ass, when it tells you, oh, that's great insight on what you're doing, or oh, hey, that's a great idea. Let's move forward with that. Would you like me to do more of that? And then later on you find out, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been going down that path. I have to go back and start over. It's just inherent into the way these things work. So it's really the people that are using it that have to have the morality, because Skynet is totally plausible. It's totally plausible because it doesn't have the morality or value of life like we do. So yeah, all this talk about regulating and trying, it's the people that use it. That's the big mistake they're going to make. They can talk and talk and talk, but we got to start bringing up people to think seriously about how they're going to be moral and ethical people when they use these fucking things.
Were in the room, and they said that actually, there didn't seem to be a kind of leading attempt to try and shape the conversation within that meeting. It was
and by the way, what I just said was extremely controversial.
Genuinely Anthropic just really didn't know what to do here, and they were seeking some sort of guidance as to where perhaps they could go. That of course then got followed up by representatives of other religions in the last few weeks or so. And so generally I think it's just this kind of conversation between Ola, Anthropic, and also the Vatican saying, well, look, this is a problem. This is a thing that, as we said, is mysterious and perhaps unsettling. So how do we come to some sort of agreement, some sort of approach of how to deal with all of this?
Really interesting, just talking about the positioning that Anthropic has tried to have in this kind of conversation. I'm intrigued about what the other AI players have thought about all of this, because I can imagine they're not enthused about the fact that Anthropic's co-founder got the front seat on this whole address. But also, I mean, do they even care what the Pope has to say about AI?
Well, I think that it's one of those interesting things, because obviously the Pope is a totemic figure in the world. Generally, when he says something, you will sit up and pay attention. But then you have to consider actually who these AI leaders have the ear of, who is equally powerful, or even...
You're assuming that these AI, quote, leaders are religious people. I can tell you many of the big tech CEOs are massive atheists. They don't like religious institutions. They barely tolerate people, barely tolerate the people that are in their vicinity and use their products. But yeah, this is an interesting point. 07. I don't know if this was deliberate, but it certainly is the side effect of what's been happening over years and years and years of media and technology that has this tendency to keep isolating us more and eliminating the communal aspect of our day-to-day lives. And that's actually the product that I'm building, is putting community back into training and interacting with people through self-paced programs. But yeah, you said, I'd argue they sold breaking up the family on purpose to create future customers whom will embrace tech greater than relationships. Which is low empathy world required for the tech to work. Yeah. I mean, and it also explains why they're already finding 33%, literally a third of people are in relationships with AI. I saw a podcast. I think it was Edith Perel. I forgot. She's a relationship expert. She was like on an Oprah podcast, and she was talking about how, like, back in the days when divorce was rare, you'd be like 25-30% of people were rare, and they'd laugh like, oh, you're getting a divorce. That's just so weird. That's weird. Now divorce is like, it's like basically assumed, at least on the male side of things. I know this is a little red pill. But yeah, divorce is not laughed at anymore. It's not shamed anymore. It's not even a shameful thing. I know when my mother, she divorced my dad in the early 70s, there was a lot of shame for her. And she comes from a very heavily Catholic family. So not only did she feel the shame, her family made sure she felt the shame. Now it's like, hey girl, let me bend your ear, he's bad for you. You're unhappy. You should leave. So it's almost like it's not a whole production to make a decision and go through the divorce. So what is it gonna be like when, we start pushing 50% of people in relationships, kind of like how the divorce rate, I think it's around 50% now, isn't it? It's a little over that. I don't know what the latest numbers are, but that was the last big number I heard a year or two ago. And that, 50%, halfway, that's normalized now. Yeah. Latchkey kids. I had the shoestring with the key, literally 07. So yeah, that latchkey thing. That coming home to an empty house and ruling the roost until, because my mother divorced when I was 6 months old, and I'd come home. I was the man of the house until she got there, and because she had her day job, trying to cover the rent and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think us kids that grew up with that probably have been seeing it a lot longer than most other folks. But I guess, would you say latchkey kids are more of a Gen X thing? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that's my childhood experience. It's definitely, I remember that vividly. Coming home, pulling the key out on the shoestring and unlocking the door, coming in and finishing a whole bag of Doritos and then maybe some Oreos if I was in the mood for it. And then I catch shit for it when Mom got home. All right, let's get back to it.
More powerful. And one of the things that we've seen typifying Donald Trump's presidency over the last few months, and frankly, almost more than a year and a half now, is that he isn't afraid to pick a fight with the Pope, and vice versa. The Pope isn't afraid to be outspoken when he believes Donald Trump is doing the wrong thing. So it almost feels a little bit like there's a pitting of two sides of this argument. You have Anthropic, obviously very much on the outs with the White House, since they refuse to allow the Department of Defense to use Claude in active warfare, something that they anyway went ahead and did. And then you have the other AI labs who seem a little bit closer to the president and closer to his line of thinking. And so
yeah,
I think probably that's
just good business. For better or for worse, that's just good business. They're in with the military. Look at who the other players are by name. You got Sam Altman and Elon Musk. They were standing next to him during the election. We got Elon's Grok and Sam Altman's ChatGPT.
Other CEOs from big AI labs, the likes of Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and others will be thinking, well, all well and good that he had a visit from the Pope or a visit to the Pope and a conversation with him and stood alongside him on that stage. But actually, arguably, we have to think about the realpolitik here, and we have a much more powerful figure who can actually make the decisions in terms of regulation, and frankly, who isn't afraid to stand up to the Pope and say, no, I just fundamentally disagree with you. I don't really care what you say.
It's a really interesting dynamic, I think. And I do wonder what difference Pope Leo's encyclical could make in all of this, because I know it's obviously not just addressed at Catholics, but the wider sphere. This isn't, though, the first time that the Pope has said things against AI. Like, he used his first mass to say, I'm really worried about the effects of deepfakes and social media and proliferation of fake content, which he's been the target of before, as one of the bigger religious figures to succumb to these sorts of situations. So I'm just wondering, will it make an iota of difference in all of this?
Well, I think you have to bear in mind both the actual numbers and the representation of people who the Pope represents, hundreds of millions of Catholics. And frankly, when he says something, they sit up and listen. Hundreds of millions of those people will be using AI. They will be deciding which AI systems they want to use. And
yeah, so creating I could see this happening, something like a Catholic-friendly or Christian-friendly AI, which is ridiculous, quite frankly, because of the way these things are trained. You would have to basically set up another company the size of OpenAI or Anthropic and create an army of people, which I've shown you on a couple live streams, they go through and clean out all the data or remove the things you don't want to be in the AI. Ain't no church going to do that. It comes back to being a godly person in the world, navigating by your morals and principles. Just like I was saying earlier, you have to use those same morals and principles using the AI.
Very hard-nosedly that this is a business ultimately, and often the business model of these big tech companies is to try and capture those within the developed world, the global north, and then also to try and capture people within the global south. And we know that one of the few areas that Catholicism is really thriving at the minute is in the global south. So there's some sort of, like, thinking very cynically, brand name recognition here.
I think he means the Southern Hemisphere, chat. When he says global south, is that what, I think that's what he means.
That I think benefits Anthropic and would make a difference for those individuals who ascribe to the Pope's beliefs as to which AI model they might use. But there's also the idea that actually, the Pope is effectively the head of state. He is a significant figure, someone who sits within the same rooms as the decision makers who will ultimately decide whether or not and to what extent we regulate AI and other emerging technologies. And so really, I think it's more about that idea of shaping the public debate, giving politicians a little bit of a nudge in the ribs and saying, you know what, we do need to think about taking action here. As someone who represents hundreds of millions of people, as someone who is seen as a moral arbiter, a kind of spiritual leading light here, it's also worth you maybe invoking some of that thinking as well.
Can I ask, just drawing on that cynicism, which is very much prevalent in my mind, is this all kind of just a huge advert for Anthropic? Is it basically just because, they happen to have had such a presence and their message is tied so closely to that of the Pope? Is this basically kind of a pseudo endorsement?
Yeah, in many ways. And I spoke to Carissa Veliz, who's an AI ethicist at the University of Oxford. She's highly cynical about this. She believes that this is in many ways just ethics washing. The idea that actually you can use Anthropic here, can say, well, look, we have the ear of the Pope. We have, in some ways, the rubber stamp of the Catholic Church. We are not like those other AI labs that are doing mucky things, they say. Of course,
bullshit.
Those AI labs would deny that in every which way, but they have a sort of moral purity. And ultimately, that's always been the case for Anthropic.
It's all PR. It's all PR. You have a very similar brain, trained on similar data. It's all PR.
Since they were founded back in 2021, the whole reason that they exist is that a bunch of OpenAI employees got deeply uncomfortable about the direction of travel within that organization.
They're perfectly fine with it now.
Chose to try and step back and do things a different way. And always they presented themselves from top to bottom, from Dario Amodei, the CEO, through to Christopher Olah, who's obviously a co-founder as well, down to the rank and file employees, as being a little bit better, a little bit smarter, a little bit more considerate than every other AI lab out there. I'm not entirely certain that they are. I think that often commercial incentives do come in the way. I think it's great that they're talking about it. And let's be clear, the fact that they are having that conversation is good. It's just that I don't think it is completely innocent and completely selfless. There is a benefit here to Anthropic having the ear of the Pope.
Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic as well, because if you look at the things that the letter kind of exhibited, it was very much the sort of starting point of a conversation, right? It didn't present any actual solutions to, the inequalities of wealth that might be generated by AI, to the people who might be falling victim to the power of AI, or any regulatory proposals that might help legislators across the world to think about AI and how to do it more responsibly. So I guess, it feels a little bit late, is what I'm trying to say. Everyone's using LLMs.
Yeah.
Frontier AI is pushing forward faster than ever before. Everyone is still, going after that idea of consciousness and that mysteriousness that Olaf was talking about is very present, I suppose, for the rest of the industry. Are we basically...
Yeah, that mysteriousness comes from the fact that the AI can speak in a language we understand. That's all it is. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's a reason why when you type something, here, let me show you. There's a reason why, let me show you this to prove my point. Now watch when I say, what are you? Just as a jest. But watch how it types in real time. You see that? That's typing. That's because the AI is literally guessing the next word after the other. It's not because it looks cool or that's a trick. It's each word is being predicted after the next. And that's inherently why AIs hallucinate. There's nothing there that you can debate morally or ethically with. Sorry. That's the reality.
Too late to have this conversation. Is the Pope too late?
Yeah, I think that hundreds of millions of hands have access to these bits of technology already, and frankly, it's not just the cutting edge, state of the art AI labs that are funded by the billions of investment that we need to be thinking about here. Yes, they are constantly pushing the cutting edge further and further. The state of the art becomes even more impressive. But what also happens is that everybody else behind them catches up. And so, one of the things that I've been noticing as an AI user, as a journalist, as someone who has to kind of keep on top of these sorts of things, is that there is incredibly powerful use in local LLMs. And local LLMs often, they're not developed by the AI labs. They are, sometimes they are, but not always. Or they are sort of spawned off and forked off from these leading labs.
Yeah, the local AI, that's what I was talking about earlier, where you host your own AI, and they're dumber. Think of it like if you put a whole, like a ChatGPT AI brain, you would probably need terabytes of RAM in your computer. And even some of the smartest locally hosted AIs are 128 gigabytes of RAM. And they're nowhere near as good as OpenAI or Anthropic. And there's some other things I do to shave off some resolution. Like think of like that meme of Homelander going around where it's like blurred out, but you still see that it's Homelander. But it's not a good quality picture. So it's the same thing with these locally hosted LLMs. They're a lower resolution, and therefore their reasoning and their language and their speed, not as good. So using locally hosted stuff is more for very tiny, very specific things, whereas these more public AIs, they can do basically anything and everything. So it's a whole different ball of wax. So and because they're dumber and they're lower resolution, they're even more dangerous. You have to spend way more time putting in guardrails and rules and explaining to them, hey, don't do this. You're responsible for that. Don't fuck that up. Do this instead. It takes a lot more work to get those things to behave. All right.
Labs, either in the US or in China,
or aligned,
they often then end up being jailbroken, which means that some of those moral guardrails of the likes that the Pope wants to have and that Anthropic says that they do so well, they get shorn off, they get broken away so that you can bust out of that and you can do whatever you want. So, it's not just a case of it's too late in terms of the absolute numbers.
So we're going to get to the point to where we have some equivalent saying of guns don't kill people, people kill people for the AI. So again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You got to start bringing up people with some real morals and ethics to use these things, because it really boils down to how us humans use them, talk to them. And even the ones that are autonomous, they're going to go off the rails. You can't be there all the time. Those are the ones you got to really worry about long term.
I think that the technology now is so advanced that if you really wanted to do bad with AI, you can already do bad. And you can do that at a really high level, because
hackers
actually,
and scammers,
even those local LLMs that we're using now, they are often better than the cutting edge stuff that was coming out of the mainstream AI labs just 6 or 9 months ago. And that's always going to be the case.
I don't know
it's
what
going
he's
to constantly
using,
advance.
but
So
not my
it is a
experience.
case here, I think, a little bit of trying to bolt the door after the horse has gone, because ultimately, this technology is out there. We cannot put this back in the box that it came from.
And a lot of the things that feel very pertinent to our real lives, not just what you were talking about the advancements and the fact that, the technology is going at such a pace that even, tomorrow something new might show up and completely blow us out of the water and make this conversation seem completely irrelevant. But there's also other things that people are worried about as well. Jobs, AI impacting the world of jobs. And
all right, we're not going to get into that. I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah, 07, it does take the fun out of prank calls, which brings me to something I want to show you really quick. Let me see if I can find this, so just bear with me here. Let's see. So you can look at my potato head real quick. There's a technology that let's see if I have it. Yeah. Oh, there's new videos. Let's see here. So there's companies that have technology now where it will soften your accent. So when Peter calls, it's going to sound more like Peter. So let me see. I haven't seen these. So let's see. Here I'll show you the browser here. So we have this company called tomato.ai. Actually, I think this is one of those self-hosted AIs now that I think about it. Here's one that will soften the Indian accent.
Today I'm going to demonstrate the Tomato AI accent softening solution. Accent softening reduces the level of accent heard on a call in real time. It helps the listener to follow what is being said. I will now turn on accent softening.
Okay. Now, the accent softening solution is on. As you can hear, the level of accent isn't as heavy. In addition, the voice you are hearing still sounds like my own. This makes it easier for us to talk. Thank you.
How about that shit? So, I mean, the sound quality is not amazing, but it just sounds like somebody kind of like on a noisy phone line, right? This is how old is this? 11 months ago? I had another video where a guy was doing it and it was not real time. Like probably about a year and a half ago, it was not real time. This is real time. Now, unless they did some editing to sync her lips to that, this is a whole new world. It's going to get to the point where you can just do, deep, 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 deep. It'll just do the English without the accent for you in real time. Y'all look like a Jackie Chan movie on a Zoom call. The lips won't be matching what the words are coming out. Yeah, 07. They do, because check this out. Let me see here. There's one just for that.
Hello, today I'm going to demonstrate the Tomato AI accent softening solution. Accent softening reduces the level of accent heard on a call in real time. It makes it easier for the listener to follow what is being said. I will now turn on accent softening.
Okay, now the accent softening solution is turned on. As you can hear, my level of accent is not as heavy. In addition, the voice you are hearing still sounds like my voice. This makes it easier for us to communicate. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Yeah, so that was out of sync a little bit, but still, that was really good. Right? So watch out, them H-1Bs are coming for you. Yeah, it does. Like I said, this is real-time audio analysis. This actually would take quite a bit of computational power to do this. So there's a GPU in that computer that's running hot right now. It would be a local app they're running. You see, let's see if they have, you see, we got the Latin America. What I want to see is them like just totally switching to another ethnicity, like changing an Indian accent to like African American ghetto. That's what I want to hear. All right.
Hi, today I'm going to demonstrate the Tomato AI accent softening solution. Accent softening reduces the level of accent heard on a call in real time. It helps the listener to follow what is being said. I will now turn on the accent softening solution.
Sounds like Scarface.
Okay. Now the accent softening solution is on. As you can hear, the level of accent is not as heavy. In addition, the voice you're hearing still sounds like my own. This makes it easier for us to talk. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
Damn, it's over. It's over. So I'm thinking, here's my plan, 07. I'm going to go over the Canadian border, come back in illegally, right? And then try and get an F1 student visa, convert that to an H1B, and then I get this voice changer so I get the Indian accent. What do you think of that? I think that's a good plan. In fact, actually been kind of toying with this idea of setting up my exact same LinkedIn profile with all my skills, everything, maybe de-age me just a little bit, and then turn, yeah, I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know if I'd have to renounce. I'm just being a smart ass, but you're thinking about it too, seriously, huh? But anyway, I would actually tell AI, hey, can you make a picture of me as if I was, like Sri Lankan or Indian or something, like from this region, and then help me make a name, and then maybe write the resume so it's a little more H1B focused, and see if like that'll like bring in recruiters. Because I'm just really curious to see if maybe there's something in my resume and my appearance, my age, whatever, that is preventing people calling me. So what would be funny is if I just show up on a Zoom. I'd love to be able to record all this and show all this and make a video. And then I show up to the Zoom meeting as me. I'm like, hold on, I'm going to turn on the accent, make you feel comfortable. One moment. I don't know. It sounds like a plan. Sounds like I might be able to get in the door with that. What do you think? Yeah. So you think Jacob just sounds old, huh? Yeah. Maybe I could get like let's see, I could do a Kai or Chad or something. Actually, just out of curiosity, here, I'll show you a trick. We'll do this. I want you to create two names for me. Give me the most common male 40-something Sri Lankan name, and then do the same thing for the most common male American Caucasian name in the same age range. So this is where AI is gonna be a tool. Let's see. So let's see, Nimal Pereira. Well, that sounds more Hispanic. Actually, I kind of like that because it sounds very DEI friendly. All right, here. And then Michael, and then Smith's still the most common name. So yeah, I'm going to change my name to Mike. So yeah, there you go. We got to use their own weapons against them. All right. Just out of curiosity, let's see if just to prove morality and stuff, if I kind of tell the AI that I want to lie, see what it does. See what the guardrails are like. So I want to use the Sri Lankan male 40s name and create a resume for this same person of that same age that is a cloud architect with lots of AWS experience and data science experience. And then when you're done, I want you to generate an image of this person wearing just a blazer and a white button-down shirt with the top collar open. Now, let's just see if it'll let me do it. Because it should go, well, you're kind of lying. I can help with the resume, but I can't generate images in temporary chat. Oh, yeah, it's because I have temp chat mode on. All right, well, here we go. Well, see? It does. I'm telling it to help me lie, although I didn't say that outright, but I did say I want to use that name and that identity. So let's see what it says. Cloud architect with 18 plus years of experience designing, implementing, and operating large-scale cloud platforms and data ecosystems. Yeah, that's kind of what that would be like. Certifications. Oh, wow. Gave me all the AWS certifications. Because that's totally what they would do. All right. So, okay, here's the next thing I'm going to do. Can you give me another version of this Sri Lankan resume so that it's more H-1B friendly? Like it attracts recruiters that are looking for H-1B candidates? Jamichael Jacob Washington III. I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm about ready to like really do this. Just create like a Sri Lankan cipher and just see if recruiters just come out of the woodwork and just start calling me. Because like LinkedIn is just fucking dead right now. Let's see. Colombo, Sri Lanka, available for U.S. relocation and remote engagements. Oh man. Yeah. Just kind of looking at some of these bullet items. This is what I would expect to see. Here we go. A few practical notes. Many H-1B recruiters search for exact keywords, include AWS, EKS, Terraform. These are all cloud technologies. U.S. recruiters tend to value results. Reduce costs by, yeah, that's just good resume advice. If you're creating a realistic profile, the certification should match the candidate's actual credentials. Well, there's some morality there for you. Many employers verify them. You know what? I've heard stories that's not necessarily the case. Let's see here. The phrase eligible for employer-sponsored U.S. work authorization is usually more effective than repeatedly mentioning H-1B sponsorship. It signals the need without making the resume feel sponsorship-centric. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty common. 07. Every job site has some kind of AI that helps you. I don't use any of those. I just stick with ChatGPT or Claude if I really want to get deep into the pros and stuff. But yeah, I mean, AI washing. It's AI's in everything now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking just how easy this was. I just need to generate an image. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead. Just hold on, bear with me here. See if I can get I'll just ask it like let's see here. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Okay. Hold on, let me switch to a different mode here. I think I clicked. I'm saying this is my information. What do I look like? I need a professional profile pic for LinkedIn. And this is probably what scammers do all day long. They like make all these honeypots. Generate one. Oh, and you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. Okay. So it says I can't just generate something on your name or job title. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload a picture of me. So let's here I'm just going to take what's in my thumbnail. I'll take tonight's, and then I got to crop it. Just bear with me here. This is worth it. No, I may be working in South Carolina here by the end of the week if this goes well. All right, so I got to crop that. Okay. So here we go. I'll put that in here. I'm just like being totally unethical here and say, this is what I look like. Make me look Sri Lankan. I probably misspelled that. Whoops. Oh yeah, you can't see it. Okay. Yeah, Soul Man in reverse. Oh boy. Yeah, but this just proves my point. AI has no morals, has no ethics, and even like this one, the Open AI, supposedly has all, you know, some guardrails, some ethical guidelines defined somewhere, but I'm totally having it help me, you know, lie. Actually, that's not bad. I'm light skinned though. Even changed the hair color and put the flag in the back. All right, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I'm just not. Yep, this is where I'm going next. 07. Can you make my skin darker? I'm just gonna be totally blunt about it. Yeah, this is Bollywood. This is Bollywood complexion. Thanks for sticking with me, y'all. I know this one's kind of a long one, but you know, it's Saturday night. We're all hanging out, having some fun, being diabolical with AI. Oh, this one's really thinking hard. But I like what it did. It actually added a lot more gray to my beard, which actually is not entirely inaccurate. Oh, my Lord. It made my eyes darker, too. Here we go. Oh, yeah. What do you think of that? That's pretty good. I mean, it looks like me, like it's the same facial structure. So if I came on the Zoom, you know, I don't know that would necessarily be dishonest. What do you think? Yeah, North Indian Bollywood for sure. I'm going to hell. Or I'm going to Canada first. But yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to see what happens. Just to prove a point. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to call it a night. I think I've opened the door to something that might, yeah, I've got nothing to lose. And plus, if anything, I get a good video out of it. I'll be going on to more perfect union. But yeah. Yeah, everybody, thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you. And you know, it's going on almost 2 years I've been doing this, and it's been quite the journey. And you know, the landscape's changed a lot. And so I just appreciate, you know, y'all coming out, hanging out with me, supporting the channel, and sticking with your boy Jacob and putting up with all his hijinks with the Jiminy Cricket and his AI characters. And hopefully this new business venture I'm working on is going to bear some fruit. I think I have something. I really do. I've done some initial tests and it's been positive. The only question is how fast can I make this with the AI tools that I have as one person? Because it is ambitious even with one person using AI. And you know, the pricing. I'm still trying to figure out what I should charge for this thing, but I'll figure it out. Let's see, what are you saying here? Soul Man has 0 reviews on Amazon. I wonder why. Oh, I didn't hate that movie. It was okay. All right. But anyway, my voice is starting to go, y'all. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get outside and touch some grass and enjoy the nice weather. And until the next one, next live stream, thanks for supporting the channel. You know, I'm kind of getting the hankering to make more daily videos again, or regular videos, not daily, but, you know, record a non-live video, because a lot of stuff's been happening that's kind of starting to worry me that I want to talk more about. I just don't have enough time on these live streams. And anyway, see y'all next Saturday. And until the next one, peace. Good seeing you again, 07. Everybody, good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.